Let's do some long addition and long subtraction, but with decimals. Now, the beauty of this is as long as you know how to line numbers up in terms of its place values, this process of adding decimals and subtracting decimals with each other is basically the same process as you've learnt when we're doing it with whole numbers. Okay, so essentially the first thing we need to do is we need to line up our two numbers. So in this case, we're adding numbers together in terms of their place values. So we've got a unit of 2, we've got 6 tenths and 8 100ths. We need to line up the 981 thousandths in the same place values. So we've got 0 units, all right, we've got 9 tenths, 8 100ths, 1 1,000th. Now we're adding these two together. So what we now do is we add each of the columns, starting on the rightmost column. So in this case, we've just got 1 here. We've got 8 plus 8, which is 16. We just put our 1, carry the 1, put the 6 down low. We've got 9 plus 6, which is 15. Add the 1 we carried, which is, what do I have? 15, so 16. So it's the 1 and the 6. The decimal place carries, so we just keep the decimal place in the same location. Then we've got the 2 plus 0 plus 1, which is 3. All right, so we end up with a solution that is 3.661. So like I said, the step here is to line them up in terms of place values and then add each of the columns starting in the rightmost column as we go, as we would when we're adding, like doing long addition with whole numbers. The only difference, I guess, is the decimal place also carries, and we keep the decimal place in the same location when we do that. Subtracting. Well, that process is actually going to be the same sort of process. So what we do is we line them up in terms of place values. So we got 38.6, subtract 9.2. So 9 units, 2 tenths. All right, like this. And we subtract each column starting with the rightmost column using the same techniques that we would with long subtraction with whole numbers. So the first thing is we need to go 6 take 2, which we can do. That's going to be 4. We keep the decimal place in the same location. We then go 8 take 9. Well, we can't really do that, so we need to borrow from here. So that's going to be 2 left over. Add 1 to here. So 18 take 9 will give us 9. And then 2 take 0. Oops, I didn't mean to do that little dash there. Let's just get rid of that. So 2 take 0 will be 2. So our result is 29.4. So that's what we put just here. Let's do one more example. So we've got the whole number of 7. Subtract the decimal number of 3.27. We need to line up the 3 with the whole number because that's a units column. And what I essentially do is I just add the zeros for the ones that I don't have. So we've got those lined up nicely like that. Okay. Now, we can see here that we can't do 0 take 7, so whoops, we need to borrow from the next column, but we can't borrow from the next, we have to borrow from the third, so that's here. We need to borrow from here now, and we've got 10. So 10 take 7 will give us 3, we're left with 9 take 2, which is 7, carry the decimal place, 6 take 3, which is 3, and we end up with a result of 3.73 or 3 wholes and 73 100ths. So like I said, the same process that we do with whole numbers, adding and subtracting whole numbers, we apply with adding and subtracting decimal numbers. The only thing is we've got to make sure and be very careful to make sure that we line up the place values correctly and that we carry the decimal place in the same location afterwards.